the story of Aladdin and his wonderful lamp. Once, in a large city in a faraway land, there lived a boy named Aladdin. He was very poor and had hardly enough to eat. One day, as he was playing in the streets, he noticed a dark-skinned man dressed in fine clothes coming toward him. As the man began to speak, Aladdin felt little shivers up and down his spine. Aladdin, I have come a long way to see you. I am the African magician, and I can make your wildest wish come true. Ah, you doubt me? Well, let me show you. Allah Sibaba, bring forth a fine horse for Aladdin to ride. There, my son, mount him, and we will go in search of a wonderful lamp which will bring us our every wish. And Aladdin and the African magician mounted the fine horse, and they rode away. And at last Aladdin and the magician came to a mighty mountain where they got off the horse, and again the magician spoke. Allah Sibaba, open the mountain so that Aladdin may find the wonderful lamp. And the mountain opened, and Aladdin went into the opening, down a long passageway till he came to a beautiful room made of solid gold and piled to the roof with baskets of precious stones. Suddenly, Aladdin gave a cry of joy, for there at the far end of the room was the wonderful lamp. Quickly he picked up the wonderful lamp and ran to the hole where he had entered the cave-like room. Oh, mighty magician, help me out of this hole. The stairs are covered with rocks and I cannot climb out. And the magician answered, Ask me the wonderful lamp, Aladdin, quickly, I say. But Aladdin knew from the look on the magician's face that if he gave him the lamp, he would go away and leave him helpless and alone. And then the magician became so angry he called in a loud voice, Allah Sababa, who knows, almighty mountain, who knows on this foolish boy who dares defy the mighty magician? Alone in the cave, weeping bitterly. As he reached for something to dry his eyes, his hand touched the wonderful lamp, and he began to rub on it with his handkerchief to wipe off the tears. And then it all began to happen. Out of the lamp came a wisp of smoke which grew bigger and bigger until it was a huge cloud swirling high above Aladdin's head. And then the cloud changed to a mighty genie who called in a loud voice, Master, I am the slave of the lamp. Your wish is my command. O slave of the lamp, said Aladdin, take me from this place and put me in a palace with fine clothes and a beautiful princess to be my wife. Aye, master, hold on, here we go. And over hill and dale went Aladdin in a flash, until the genie placed him in a beautiful garden, where he found the princess waiting for him. For many years they were happy as could be, until one day the mighty magician heard that Aladdin had found the wonderful lamp, and so he went through the streets with a cart full of bright new lamps, calling, New lamps for old, new lamps for old. For wicked magician finally came to the palace where Aladdin and the princess lived. "Here," said the princess, as she handed the magician Aladdin's lamp, "I'll take one of your new lamps." The magician quickly exchanged lamps. Just then the princess saw a rusty spot on the lamp and took it back from the magician's cart to wipe off the rust. And again the genie appeared. "I am the slave of the lamp, O princess. Your wish is my command." And the princess saw in an instant the wicked magician had wanted to get the wonderful lamp, so she said to the genie, "I command you to make this magician into a chattering monkey that I may keep in my garden as a pet." "I am master of the lamp. Your wish is granted." And that is the story of Aladdin and the wonderful lamp. And somewhere far across the sea in a beautiful garden, Aladdin and his princess listened and laughed at the antics of a chattering monkey who was once a mighty magician. Presenting the story of Cinderella. Here's a story I will tell you of a princess and a slipper. Cinderella, Cinderella, little princess all dressed up in rags. Yes, the music was bright and gay, just like that. The night Cinderella's two wicked sisters got all dressed up to go to the palace of the prince to attend the ball. The two wicked sisters never ceased fighting. Yes, and they had an angry word for everyone. Well, soon the wicked sisters were all dressed up in their finest clothes, and off they went to the ball, leaving poor Cinderella all alone to sweep up the ashes in the fireplace. Poor Cinderella was all alone except for the big grandfather clock out there in the hall. "Dear me," said Cinderella, "I wish I could go to the ball." "Cinderella, Cinderella, I am your fairy godmother, and you have been such a good girl, you shall have your wish. Yes, Cinderella, you shall go to the ball." And before Cinderella could blink an eye, the beautiful fairy godmother, who had appeared out of nowhere, waved her magic wand, and things began to happen. First, she touched a big pumpkin lying on the table. And in a flash, it changed to a beautiful golden coach. Then she touched 4 white mice who were caught in a cage. And there were 4 wonderful white horses to pull the golden coach. Even Cinderella's ragged clothes were replaced with a glittering party dress, and on her feet were a pair of shining clear glass slippers. Never had there been more delicate slippers, so wonderfully made of spun glass. Cinderella was so happy, she climbed into the coach that she felt like a real princess. "Cinderella, don't forget 12 o'clock, for then my magic will disappear, and you'll be a ragged Cinderella. Don't forget, my dear, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock." Thank you, said Cinderella, and away she went to the ball. Everyone was having so much fun at the ball that even Cinderella forgot that she'd ever been a ragged little peasant girl. The prince was so taken with Cinderella's beauty that he danced and laughed with her all evening long. Cinderella, running so fast that one of her glass slippers fell off. Looking back over her shoulder as she ran out into the night, she saw the prince stop and pick up the wonderful glass slipper. But by this time, the coach, the horses, and even Cinderella's glittering party dress had all changed to what they had been before the fairy godmother had appeared. As poor Cinderella went home dressed in rags, she left behind her on the road a large pumpkin and 4 very squeaky white mice. Well, the next day, the 2 wicked sisters were all excited by the news they heard that the prince was going to marry the girl who would fit the glass slipper on her foot. My, were they excited! They were both sure they could put their foot in the glass slipper and could hardly wait till the prince came to their house. Well, soon the prince was right at the front door of the house where Cinderella lived, and his captain of the guard announced, "Hear ye, hear ye, His Majesty would try the glass slipper on every fair lady within." The 2 wicked sisters rushed forward to try on the slipper. First the one tried, and then the other. But try as they might, the slipper was too small. Why, but they were very, very angry. And then Cinderella stepped forward and slipped the glass slipper on as easy as pie. Know ye by all present that here's the owner of the glass slipper. Long live the prince and princess of the slipper, Cinderella. And so, that is the story of Cinderella. Someone threw the ball to Johnny, and who would have thought it? Someone threw the ball to Johnny, little Johnny caught it. Someone threw the ball to Johnny, picked it up and tossed it. Someone threw the ball to Johnny, little Johnny lost it. Hey, mister! Did you see Johnny's ball bouncing down the street? Did you see Johnny's ball bouncing down the street? Johnny's ball bouncing down the street. Bounce like this. Up so high, couldn't miss, hit the sky. Ball of blue with red upon it, swiftly bouncing down the street. The ball of blue with red upon it, bouncing round the people's feet. Ball of blue with red upon it, swiftly bouncing down the street. Ball of blue with red upon it, bouncing round the people's feet. Puppy said, that ball is Johnny's, think I'd better chase it. Conductor said, the ball is Johnny's, trolley car can race it. People said the ball is Johnny's, knew no more about it. Oh, come and get the ball for Johnny. Everybody shouted, yay! Did you see Johnny's ball bouncing down the street? Did you see Johnny's ball bouncing down the street? Hey, did you see Johnny's ball bouncing down the street? Bounce like this, up so high, couldn't miss, hit the sky. A ball of blue with red upon it, a policeman blew his whistle. A ball of blue with red upon it, and nothing stops at this will. Ball of blue with red upon it, policeman blew his whistle. Ball of blue with red upon it, and nothing stops at this will. Whistled at the ball for Johnny, whistled till he stopped it. Till he stopped the ball for Johnny, right where Johnny dropped it. And he threw the ball to Johnny, oh, who would have thought it? And when he threw the ball to Johnny, little Johnny caught it. Yay! see is coming into town. And the locomotive huffs along, he puffs along, he huffs along. The locomotive huffs along, coming into town. Can't you hear the whistle blow? Oh, what can the reason be? Wonder why they're ringing so, ringing out so merrily. And all the seats are guess so grand, guess so grand, guess so grand. From Timbuktu and Samarkand coming into town. In the dining car a feast is spread, feast is spread, feast is spread. Strawberry tarts and gingerbread are coming into town. When the train comes riding by, comes riding by, riding by. When the train comes riding by, what can the reason be? Get on the train that's riding by, that's riding by, riding by. Get on the train that's riding by, and maybe you will see. All aboard! And in the aisles are fiddlers three, fiddlers three, fiddlers three. They play My Country 'Tis of Thee, are coming into town. In the little caboose is a wife from me, a wife from me, a wife from me. Coming for to marry me, are coming into town. Now can't you hear the whistle blow? That's the reason, yes sirree. Wonder why they're ringing so, ringing out so merrily. Oh, tell me when will the wedding be, the wedding be, the wedding be. Oh, tell me when will the wedding be, you're coming into town. When the train comes whistling, twiddle-diddle-dee, oh, twiddle-diddle-dee, oh, twiddle-diddle-dee. The longest train you ever did see, coming into town. Presenting the story of the Sleeping Beauty. A long time ago in a faraway land there was born to a good king and queen a beautiful little baby daughter. The king was so happy that he ordered a great feast to be served and invited all the fairies of the land to attend the celebration. Each of the good fairies was served on a pure golden plate, and everyone had a wonderful time. One by one the good fairies rose and gave the little princess a gift. One gave her virtue, another talent and beauty, and still another diamond and pearl. Then the king rose to speak. Thank you in the name of our princess, who will be known now as Briar Rose. And now, on with the feast. Yes, everyone wished the baby well except an old witch who had not been invited. Suddenly she rose and said,
"Wouldn't invite me, eh? Well, here is my wish for your princess. When this princess is 15 years old, she shall prick her finger on a spindle and die."
Well, luckily, there was one fairy who had not made her wish yet. She changed the witch's curse, so that if the princess pricked her finger, she would fall asleep for 100 years. Next morning, the king was so upset by what had happened at the party that he made the following announcement. I hereby order that every spinning wheel in this land be destroyed. All spindles shall be thrown into the sea. This is my command.
you doing, old woman?" said Briar Rose, who had never seen a spinning wheel before. And she came closer and touched the spindle. Poor Briar Rose fell to the floor and into a deep sleep. The witch's curse had come true, and the king and queen sorrowfully dressed Briar Rose in her finest clothes and carried her to her bed. "Sleep, O princess, and so shall everyone in this castle, be it man or beast, for 100 years. So it came to pass. A hedge of briars soon grew around the castle, and as the years passed, a great forest grew around the place where the Sleeping Beauty lay in all her splendor. One day, 100 years later, the king's son was riding in the woods, and he saw the deep tangled forest surrounding the castle. "Oh, there! Here, my good man, what lies beyond this dark forest?"
"There is a castle, master, where the Sleeping Beauty lies, and only the kiss of a brave prince can awaken her."
Or when the prince heard this, he rolled into the forest and hacked a path to the castle wall. What a strange place this is, thought the prince as he made his way through the castle. All around him lay sleeping people, who had fallen where they were 100 years before when the princess went to sleep. The prince stopped in the middle of the great dining hall and raised his hands and called out, "Hello! Hello!" Only the sound of his own voice came back to him. Finally, he came to the beautiful room where the Sleeping Beauty lay, still as beautiful as ever. Looking down at the beautiful princess, the prince fell in love with her at once and stooped over and kissed her. One day, 100 years later, the king's son was riding in the woods, and he saw the deep tangled forest surrounding the castle. "Oh, there! Here, my good man, what lies beyond this dark forest?"
"There is a castle, master, where the Sleeping Beauty lies, and only the kiss of a brave prince can awaken her."
Or when the prince heard this, he rolled into the forest and hacked a path to the castle wall. What a strange place this is, thought the prince as he made his way through the castle. All around him lay sleeping people, who had fallen where they were 100 years before when the princess went to sleep. The prince stopped in the middle of the great dining hall and raised his hands and called out, "Hello! Hello!" Only the sound of his own voice came back to him. Finally, he came to the beautiful room where the Sleeping Beauty lay, still as beautiful as ever. Looking down at the beautiful princess, the prince fell in love with her at once and stooped over and kissed her on the lips. "The spell is broken, O princess. Here is your prince who has come to take you for his bride." And so it came to pass. And to this day, Briar Rose and the prince rule that land with goodness and wisdom.